Thanks for signing up for this free presentation. My name is Jared Matz, and I'm an associate of Nevada Business Corporations. And today we have Wayne Wakefield, the CEO of Nevada Business Corporations, here with us. And we're going to be talking about how you can have your very own corporations and how it can help your business massively in so many different number of ways. But before we do that, I just wanted to introduce Wayne. He's an Amazon.com bestselling author of The 40 Unbreakable Laws of Money. He has over 35 years in financial services. He's a businessman and entrepreneur. His expertise and services include domestic and international corporate service center. He's a tax consultant, an investment advisor. He's a financial consultant, corporate consultant, and he does international and domestic business consultation as well as estate planning. He wears a lot of hats, but with that said, let's get into the presentation. I'll let Wayne take it away.
Hello, everybody. I wanted to thank Jared for the wonderful introduction. And I appreciate you all being here, listening to this, taking some time out. The problem, most people don't take the time to learn extra things. And this isn't just something that is a little different. This kind of information and this kind of training that I give you is, or consulting, is critical to your future, because a lot of people wanted to get into business and they just afraid to do it, or they afraid they'd lose money, or they've already tried and been in business and then they failed in business. Well, as an author of 40 Unbreakable Laws of Money, on the back of my book, I talk about that wealth has very little to do with money. It is about applied knowledge, not knowledge, folks. Applied knowledge. You got to have the right knowledge, and second, you have to know how to apply it. So applied knowledge and your mindset, which means your mindset has to be different. You have to change what you are currently doing. Millionaires don't do the same things that non-millionaires do. So even billionaires do something different than the millionaires do. So, but let's talk about, I'm going to pick on California because California is the highest tax state in the nation. And it also has the highest regulations out there. It's second to New York. But here, let's go through, I'm going to be talking about a sole proprietor in California. And I'm also plan B here, you're going to see a sole proprietor in Nevada. So my point is, you never want to be a sole proprietor, ever, because sole proprietors and employees are the highest tax entities in the nation. And so if you got a job, I mean, you got to pay all the taxes on all that income. You might get to deduct a little interest on your house, but other than that, you can't change your income much. But the whole world opens to you if you file a corporation, and I'll get into that in just a couple of minutes. So let's pick on California sole proprietor. I pick on $100,000. Folks, this is net after all your deductions. So this is actual taxable income. So remember that. So on $100,000, the tax bill, as you can see, federal tax for you and I out there is 32%. For a California person, it's also 9.3% state tax. They have a state personal tax there. But you also have self-employment tax of 15.3 because you have to pay your Social Security. And when you're an employee, you have to pay 7.5% on Social Security, and your employer has to match it. But when you're a sole proprietor working for yourself, you get the pleasure to pay for both sides of that puppy. So in this case, the California sole proprietor is at almost a 48% tax bracket. So let's kick over to Nevada. Nevada is a non-tax jurisdiction. For corporations, it's no taxes, period, under 4 million. But let's pick on Nevada sole proprietor. So the tax there is still you're at a 38.3. Why the difference? The only difference is Nevada has no state tax. So now you're looking at having to pay 38% instead of 47%. That's not good. 40%, it's real close to 50%. And so in California, you're paying 50%. You might as well round it off to 50% for the taxes. So let me ask you a question. How do you feel about making $100,000 and you have to give almost 50% of it away? So folks, who told you you had to do that? So one of the things I talk about in my book, 40 Unbreakable Laws of Money, is that it's not the Internal Revenue's job to train you. That's your job, and that's what you're doing by watching this. I'm just showing you the equal amount, same $100,000 for a sole proprietor. Let's go over to corporations. Now let's pick on a California corporation. Well, it's in a lower tax bracket. So since the Congress and whether you like the man or not, Donald Trump, they got the corporate sales or the corporate tax from 35% down to 21%. Folks, that's huge. And it's a flat tax, which means that you can make $20 million in a corporation and still at 21%. You and I have a personal federal tax at almost 40%, it's 37 now. But California still has that wonderful corporate tax of 8.4. So at the end of the day, you're paying 29, almost 30% in federal and California state tax. So 29,400. Well, you can see that I have Plan D, Nevada Corporation is highlighted. Again, 21% is the federal, but if you go down, no state tax under $4 million in volume. And even if you hit 4, there are ways to legally circumvent that tax. And I always do things that are legal, folks. So if you're saying this isn't legal, I've been doing this a long time. You do things that are legal. So there's we are tax-free jurisdiction under $4 million here, but there's no state tax. There's no self-employment tax either on a corporation, because corporations aren't subject to self-employment tax. They don't pay Social Security. So my question to you is, which plan would you want to be in? Plan A, or Plan B, or C, or possibly Plan D? Would you rather pay almost $48,000 in taxes or $21,000 in taxes? Take your time. You know, some people out there, now most people laugh when I ask that, but there are some people that would rather pay the tax. Now, folks, I'm not an advocate of not paying taxes. What I am an advocate of is paying the least amount of taxes that you have to. But again, the IRS is not going to train you in how to structure that so that you pay the least amount of taxes. So in this example, you could be a sole proprietor. There's nothing, that's perfectly legal. And you'll pay $47,664 in California. In Nevada, you'll pay $21,000 legally, okay? Because Nevada does not have the taxes. So the folks, when you can take, what's the difference? That's half, okay? So 21, 42, that's over half. So you're saving almost $25,000 in taxes, and all you did was restructure it. Instead of taking it into California, and there's some rules on it, but instead of taking it into California, you took it into a different state. And the problem is most everybody thinks that you have to have your business or your corporation in the state you live in. And that is one of the biggest fallacies there are out there. Who told you had to have your business in the state you live in? So many corporations are filed in Delaware. Delaware now, it used to be the #1 place to file, not anymore, because they have disclosure who owns the corporation. They also have taxes now. Nevada is one of the only 2 states left that does not disclose or does not register stock. So no one, even our federal government, does not know who owns that corporation. So, and because nothing's registered, and you also don't file a tax return in Nevada. So if you're not filing a tax return in Nevada, there's no financial reporting. So unlike all the other states. So folks, how you structure is everything. So that if you're going to go out and risk all your money, $50,000, $100,000, or whatever you are going to start your business, the first thing, it's the #1 thing you should do is file a corporation. Then upon that, you build everything else. Now, another statement in my book is filing a corporation is simple, but knowing what to do with it is a whole different animal. Folks, and the best analogy I can explain is it's like you buying an airplane, say a nice, beautiful $500,000 twin-engine plane out there, and you go and you marvel at it sitting on the tarmac out there, and you get in the plane and you marvel at all the gauges and how beautiful it is, and then you turn to your partner and say, well, how do you start this puppy? Well, folks, you got to have, you mean I need a license? Yeah, you need a license. Does that mean you should have some lessons on how to fly that plane? Absolutely. So anybody can file a corporation. You'll see corporations for sale all sorts of different places online. Oh, you can get it cheap for 49 bucks. You can get it for 149. And folks, you got to understand that you got to have someone there to teach you how to use that. And if you don't have a clue, that's when people get in trouble. And the problem with being a sole proprietor is that you take risk. If you fail at that business, then you take what's called personal recourse. Now they can sue you personally. That means they can go after your IRAs. You can go after certain pension funds. There are some exceptions. They can go after your properties. They can go after, your firstborn and your pet snake and everything else. I'm kidding on the firstborn. Anyway, they can go after all your assets, and they can keep a judgment on you for up to 20 years in most states. And so all they have to do is, if they get a judgment for a certain amount of money, that every 7 years, all they have to do is renew that judgment. So should you be incorporated? I think maybe so. So by being incorporated, you protect yourself and your family against lawsuits. The second thing you do is pay the least amount of taxes in the nation. And so that's one of the most powerful things that Congress could have done, is doing a 21% tax, a flat tax for corporation. That's C corps. And then after you deduct things, if you have more deductions and things, you can bring that tax down way below 21%. Actual average tax for a corporation is 9%. Now, some of the people out there say, well, that's unfair. Those are tax loopholes. Folks, it's not a loophole. That's how all business works. All corporations, to the very large, to the new person that just started out there. I'm so tired of hearing about, oh, it's for the rich. No, folks, it's for the new person just starting in business, to the person that, has the multi-million-dollar corporation. It helps everybody. That's why our unemployment is dropping our employment is increasing. Unemployment's dropping like a rock. That's why we've had the best, by changing just the corporate structure, it has changed our entire economy with that, and removing a lot of regulations. So I have fun with people when I do speaking engagements, because I'll ask them, I said, who's got a $100 bill in here? And there's always somebody who wants to show off, so they raise $100, and I walk over and I take the 100, stick it in my pocket, and I walk away. And I don't say anything to them. And then I go on for the rest of the meeting. And by the end of the meeting, they're kind of wondering when they're going to get their $100 back. And I said, I'm not giving it back to you. Now, I'm kidding with them, but I said, I'm not giving it back to you. I said, you had to pay $100 tax to be in this meeting. And I said, how did that benefit you by me taking your $100? And they go, well, it didn't benefit me at all. And I said, if you don't understand the tax system, then that $100 they're going to keep taking that money, and that does not benefit you one iota. So stop giving away all your money to state and federal governments. Law 28 in my book says, don't worry or don't fear the IRS. Learn the rules. If you know how the tax system works, not one loophole, but how the system works, then you get to take advantage of the whole thing. And that's where people don't understand. But you were not taught anything in high school or college about the one thing you're going to spend the rest of your life trying to master, and that's a thing called money. So that's why I'm having this webinar, so that I can speak to you personally, and that you can have full understanding the benefits of getting into business. In fact, you cannot build wealth, folks. You cannot build great wealth being an employee, ever. You must be in business. And go back and look at anybody that's ever become a millionaire, he or she has never done it through being an employee. Now, we have all been employees, and you may still be one, and that's okay. But then you start your company on the side. You don't jeopardize your income. That's what I did way back in 1985. And so I worked part-time, and then once my part-time income matched my full-time income in my business, I fired my boss. Folks, other than a couple of years in interior design, I haven't worked for somebody in 35 years. I like working for me. I win every argument. I do complain about my boss not paying me enough, giving me enough time off. But other than that, folks, when you can take to change your finances, you change your children and your children's children. For the rest of, you're changing generations. So because your parents did not teach you anything in business, because they were never taught anything. So it's a known fact that if a family, parents are millionaires and self-made millionaires, and they have children, who do they produce? Millionaires. Okay, so if you're in that culture, then you can change your whole future if you're willing to listen, learn, and then apply. And that's what I do. I'm one of the few people in the nation that do this. Now, keep in mind, we don't just file corporations and LLCs. We create the very structure for your business to meet your visionary goals. You got to have a dream, but a dream is always a dream until you put a defined plan behind that dream, and you have to walk through the steps to get you to the goal that you want to meet that dream. If you don't have a specific plan, your dream will always remain a dream. So the possibilities and opportunities, folks, are endless when a company is organized properly for tax and liability purposes. I work with a lot of clients that they're in their 60s and some are in their 70s, and they've got creditors coming after them because they put everything in their personal name. Folks, I have nothing in my personal name, okay? And I talk about in my book, 40 Unbreakable Laws of Money, I talk about, and you can just go to Amazon.com. It's sold in 9 countries, all right? 5-star on Amazon. So if you want to change something, you have to go educate yourself, but it has to be the proper education. It has to focus on changing what you do now. And yes, you must do something different. So what we do at Nevada Business Corporations, we take the confusion out of setting up your business correctly and offer everything that's solutions and at unbeatable prices. I've been told I need to increase my prices. Attorneys charge massive amounts of money, and they don't know a tenth of what they're doing. In fact, I have to train a lot of attorneys, and I'm not an attorney, but I've had to train bankers, and because they don't understand how corporations work. It's pretty bad when I have to go to Bank of America, and they're one of the best banks for understanding corporations, and I have to train them how a corporation works, and once I do, then they have an understanding, because I send a lot of clients to those banks to set up their corporate accounts. So our packages come with a free business consulting, excuse me. So we are with you every step of the way. Folks, you can't learn all of this by watching one video. You need a coach. You need a consultant. That's why I'm a consultant in so many areas, because it isn't just about getting a book. A book will not make you successful. But my book will take your brain and switch it totally around, because everything you've learned about money is generally not the way it is. Okay, there are ways to do certain things, but if you want to get into if you want to be financially independent and successful and change your children and your children's lives, And all the people you come in contact with, you can have a major impact on people's future simply by what you know and what you've learned. But the thing is, I talk about in my book also, don't go, why would you want to create a new path? You know, blaze a new trail, so to speak. When you look 10 feet over and there's a well-traveled trail, learn why those people are going on that trail, because that's the way to get to becoming successful. If you want to be a millionaire, you better hang with millionaires. If you want to learn how to save money, learn the tax system, not a loophole, you understand the tax system, then like I said, and I can't tell you enough, the whole world, business-wise and financially, opens up to you. Stop paying all those dadgum taxes. You just, I mean, who told you you had to do that? You know, the thing is you think you have to. Well, as long as you think you have to, then you won't listen to me. Okay, and I have fun. I created Law 14 for those of you out there, and I hope there aren't very many of you, but it says 10% of the people have the right to remain stupid. Okay, so people laugh at that, and I said, yeah, it's funny until you meet somebody that don't confuse me with the facts, don't confuse me with the truth. I'm going to think the way I want to, no matter what the cost. Those are the what I call 10 percenters. It is much higher than 10%, but I was trying to be nice. So anyway, folks, I hope you've enjoyed this. Call, fill out the information below and send it in, and you have 1 hour free consulting. So we can answer your questions and see how and where you're at. Everybody's different. So there is no one cookie cutter thing. You know, people ask me, well, should I have an S Corp, C Corp, LLC? And there, well, my brother-in-law said I should have an S Corp. When we talk to him, we find it's the worst thing they could have. There's times to have a C Corp, there's times to have an S Corp. I don't find too many times for LLCs. And I'll talk about that at a later time. But folks, contact us, get the free hour. Now you have to set up the appointment. You'll talk to one of our associates or myself. I'm not too good to be on that phone talking to you either. And so we'll talk to you and we'll answer your questions and instruct you how to move forward so that you don't shoot yourself in both feet in the forehead with the IRS or doing the wrong things out there, starting the wrong, the company wrong, investing your money wrong, investing your money in things that are not good. Okay, I've told, another thing I tell people when I'm speaking to groups is if you want to know how to screw something up, you come talk to me. So I know that's done. And that's because over the last 35 years, I've gone out and I wrote the book, 40 Unbreakable Laws of Money, because I got tired of people taking a bloodbath out there in taxes, lack of knowledge. I wanted to get something out there to grab someone's attention, say, you're doing it wrong. It's not the way it's supposed to be done. Don't you wonder why millionaires become millionaires and you stay there working, bringing in your salary and you're barely ahead of making your bills? Well, it's because you've given all your, not all of it, but you're giving a great deal of your money away for taxes. And yes, even employees can use a corporation to lower their taxes. Folks, this is not new. It's just new to you. Okay, so fill out the information. We'll set up a time to talk with myself or one of the associates, and we'll answer your questions. There'll be no cost. And I will tell you this, if you want to change the future of your life, you better start now, and you better start with the right information. And you should always listen to someone who's been there, done that, and knows how, and has failed. I have failed. I've never filed bankruptcy, but I have failed in businesses. And then I shut them down. I start again. It's one of the toughest things to do. And that's another one of my 40 laws is that most people quit just before they make it. And folks, I can't tell you how many times I wanted to quit. But the winners always want to quit. Always. We just never do. We just keep on going on. I mean, I'd cry for a day or two when I had to shut down a business. But after a few days, I picked myself back up and I said, what if I go one more month and I win? If I would have quit, 40 Unbreakable Laws of Money would not be a bestseller today. It would not be changing the lives of many, many people across the nation. And like I said, the book is sold internationally as well, even in China. Okay, so folks, I hope this was good for you. I hope you enjoyed it. Again, keep watching my webinars and looking at my training. Go to our website, NevadaBusinessCorp.com. It's right on the screen. Or you can email us at the email there. But you go to NevadaBusinessCorp.net, and it talks about the different packages we have and all that. But there's specific reasons why you better have somebody coming alongside as your consultant, your business consultant, business partner. And I don't mean a partner in your business, but I mean a business partner, so that to keep you focused and online, so that you don't get yourself hurt out there. And also you keep paying literally tens of thousands of dollars in taxes, and over a lifetime, hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars in taxes you didn't have to pay. And the IRS is going to call you and say, you know, you're overpaying your taxes. You'll never get that call. So anyway, enjoyed it, folks. Sign up, get the information, and get a hold of us, and we will. I look forward to talking to you and changing your life out there. But you have to pick up the phone, or you have to email us before that'll happen. And it doesn't cost you anything but an hour of your life. And we always can help someone, always. All right. Have a great time. God bless.